My name's Jake Gosling and I'm a music producer, songwriter, and this is my studio, Sticky Studios. So some of the things I've worked on in the past have been Wiley, a UK rapper, Ed Sheeran, Playing with Faith, One Direction, The Libertines, a bit more recently Shawn Mendes and Shania Twain. With production, it's fun to be able to be, I guess you're writing, but you're not writing in the sense of the word. You're having to help the artist, let's say, if I'm producing a track, for that song to sound as clear as it can for the artist. For me, the most key thing is to focus on the song, and if I'm producing the song, I like to know that the song's gonna work for me. And that's my first port of call. With the Shawn Mendes thing, it was like, I really loved what the demos were. I was like, actually, you know, they're sounding really, really good, and I love the placement of them. And then I need to make sure that we're going to go in that same sort of direction, because normally the demos will outline what the vibe of it, where it's going to be. And then it will be the artist, the relationship, and how you relate with them, and how, you know, do you get on? You know, it's fundamental that you have a good relationship and that you can communicate with each other. And there will be times, and it has happened before, that you can start on something, but the relationship's not quite there. And if the relationship's not there, there's no point working on the record, because you've got to do it for the right reasons. And the right reasons is that you both understand what it should be. And I think that is crucial to it being something more than just another track on the radio. That relationship between the producer and the artist, or the songwriters, whatever that involvement is, I think that is the sort of magic maybe that people talk about. And then if that's working really, really well, then the next stage is to work firstly with the artist, because they are the driving force. And the record company has sort of become, I'd say, another voice, but they vary in the way that they work. Some A&R people will try and be very hands-on and say, we want this, you know, and I understand that, because I understand that there are certain rules and things that sometimes things need to fit into with the length of a song, or maybe the chorus could come in here, or whatever it might be. So I have to permanently juggle what it is that people think should be, or what feels right, or what is right for the song. And I think you have to always push more on the side of the song and try and get that side across. And then it will be, what do we want? Is it drums? Is it going to be recorded on electric, acoustic? All those decisions have to be made. What is the tempo of the track? A tempo can make such a massive difference to a song. A massive difference. And even the key of the song. I've had it with Playing with Faith before. There was a track I did with her, and it was really quite slow, and then the idea was, well, we sped it up by quite a lot actually, and suddenly it changed the whole feel of the whole song, and it became a single in the end. But I'm always working with the artist, so you know, it's their vision as well. I'm always like, look, really, you get the last call, or you should have the last call, because it's your vehicle. You're the one performing it, it's your song, you're invested in it, it's your career. And I don't want to be responsible for like trying to say, well, I know more than you because of this, that and the other, because I don't. I have ideas, you've got ideas, but it has to be driven from the creative, it has to be driven from the artist. So that's really sort of my role, I guess, which is quite a few hats, being a producer. With an artist, I think you need to make sure, well, I need to make sure, and they need to make sure, that they feel happy and comfortable with recording, and the environment is very, very important. With the Libertines album, it wasn't my studio. We did it in Thailand. So as soon as I got there, I spoke to the owner of the studio, Chris, and I was like, he's a lovely man, and I was like, look, I know this sounds a bit weird, but we need lamps, we need incense going on, we need the lighting changed, we need, and I'm not trying to be a diva, because it wasn't expensive, we just need cheap, like, let's go out and let's get things to try and dress up this place to make it feel like we're not in a studio. I'm working with the Libertines. The guys want to feel like they're in their bedroom half the time. They don't want to feel like they're in some stark studio. So that's what happened. And then with Playing with Faith, we put fairy lights all in the booth, and she loves all that sort of theatrical sort of thing. And suddenly you change the environment. And we have candles going on. Shania Twain loved candles, so we had loads of candles burning and stuff like that. I think it's just important to create that environment and not make it feel like you're in an office, you know. Otherwise, go to an office. Some people may love that, and that's great. Everyone's different. But I find as a rule, genuinely, that people in the creative world tend to like to, you know, be a bit creative with it and have fun with it, and it should be fun. I think for people who have that feeling where I don't have that piece of kit, or I don't have that microphone, or I've written the song, I spent like, you know, the whole day working on something, at the end of it you're like, you have this massive fall into the ground, the earth opens up and you're like, how am I gonna cope with it? But I think you just gotta remember that really, it doesn't really matter. The Beatles, they're quite massive, huge, gigantic, recording on 2 tracks back in the day. Don't worry about it, is my thing. You know, with the first album I did with Ed, it was very simply a £200 mic with a, you know, relatively cheap sound card on a Cubase 3 that was hardly working on a PC. I didn't have a door on the live booth, that fell off. So we'd have to record really quietly, and if you listen to the songs on Plus, you'll hear noises. You'll hear a little door squeak, or me spinning on the chair, or something happening, or a bird outside, or whatever it is. And I think those things are cool. Don't iron out all the mistakes. Just use what you've got and get it down and record it. If you've got good ideas and you're creative and you've got something to work with, that's all you really need. The rest of it is just really, really hard work and a bit of luck thrown in. And also the belief that you're not going to give up. Don't give up. Keep going. You know, we've all had that door close on us. We've all had that one saying, oh, that song's not good enough. We had it with the A-Team. The song's not good enough. It's like, yes, it is. Stick to your guns. If you think it's good enough, then if you know it is, then it sort of is. You sort of got to have that sort of quiet confidence that, you know, what you're doing is right and what you're doing is good. And it will pay off. You just got to keep doing it.